Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda, and this is the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast.
This podcast is all about taking action and creating that badass business abundance and life that you want.
Where we share stories, laughs, wins, and epic fails to show you the whole picture of the entrepreneurial journey.
It's not just unicorns and rainbows, people.
Jump on and follow us through this raw and witty roller coaster,
where we get down and dirty and go behind the scenes of life and entrepreneurship.
Get on it,
get over it,
and get after it.
Hey there, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Amanda. Welcome to the Pursuit of Badasserie, the podcast. We are back again with another topic that every entrepreneur needs to know about. When it comes to online education, summits, conferences, what do you need to know to get the most out of those experiences? We're going to go over it today.
Yeah. First of all, if you're not attending summits or conferences virtually, you really are missing out. Like, I know that a lot of us want to have that in-person touch, that face-to-face, that like in the presence of. And yes, absolutely still do that. However, post-COVID, there's so much more opportunity to be able to expand yourself, your network, your business, your contacts, so much. And so that's why we're really talking about this today, because we feel that people are leaving money and opportunity and potential on the table. So one of the first things, regardless if it's virtual or not, Amanda and I are big believers in setting goals. Like, what do you want to get out of it? If it's a networking event, like, how many people do you want to meet? What's your objectives, right? So if it's a networking event, how many people do you want to meet? What's the type of person that you want to meet? So there's also doing a little bit of research there, but that goal setting, if it is more of a course or a summit, then it's what you're going to gain out of it. Like, what's the thing that you want to pull? What's that nugget that's going to make it worth it? And again, you can use these tools or these tips that we're giving you both on and offline, but we know that people drop the ball when it comes to online, even more so.
Even more so, and I'm guilty of it too, because there are plenty of times that I sign up for an online or a virtual conference or a training or a workshop or something. And then at the same time, I'm making dinner, and then I leave to help my kid with something. And then I have to like real quick go to get the mail, and it's still on, and I attended, and yet I didn't get anything out of it. And then it starts to snowball into this idea that, oh, well, I never really get anything out of those online ones. And it's not because they don't have great information. It's because I wasn't fully invested in them and taking the time and energy to really figure out what did I even sign up for? What was the purpose of me signing up? And that can vary greatly across all sorts of platforms. There are times that I sign up for virtual conferences that aren't even necessarily within my niche, but I want to see, like, how do they do their CRM, or what's their email sequence like? Or maybe it's something like, oh, I heard about this one speaker. I want to see how they speak and what their topic is. And so it might not really even be necessarily about gaining the information. So that when we say, what's your goal when you come to a virtual conference or summit or anything like that, it can vary widely. There are, like I said, there are lots of times that I attend seminars online that are just for fun. Like, maybe I do want to learn about like archaeology in Peru. Like, maybe that's what I want to gain out of it. I did take one that was pretty fun. Anyway, it's and then we were talking about voodoo in Haiti. It was very cool. Anyway, so there are lots of reasons to take it. I think it's important that you set up. We think it's important that you set up that expectation as you're signing up. Like, what do I really want to get out of this? Do I want to learn the topic? Do I want to interact with the people? Do I want to come away with contacts? Watch how they present, watch how they do their systems. There's lots of reasons to get involved. And as long as it's clear, you will get something out of that experience every single time.
Yes.
100%.
You did touch on one other thing that I definitely want to stress as well. Although it wasn't your main point, is be actively engaged, pay attention. If you are, and show up, like, those two go hand in hand. How many of you, by the show of hands, nobody's watching you, have signed up for something and don't show up? on and offline, but it's easier to do it when it's online, right? Because you're like, oh, nobody will miss me or whatever. You're not going to know anybody, but showing up is like the first thing, but then also being engaged in it, turn off everything else. Put your phone away. Exactly what Amanda was saying. So make sure that you're actively engaged in it. You're taking notes, you're asking yourself questions. And one of our really like our bonuses that we love, because we put on summits and different masterminds and different things like that, master classes, but we always encourage, either if it's our people who are putting one on or that we're putting one on, we always encourage our attendees to at least take one nugget out of each section, out of each presentation, to apply. Even if it's something that doesn't come directly from the speaker, and maybe it's a thought that came from mine, but if you go into the intention to pull something out each speaker, each hour on the hour, to pull out and apply, then it could drastically shift your business, or if it's personal stuff, maybe your personal life, in just little actions.
Absolutely. And it's not just the action of absorbing that information or taking it away, that it's, and we talk about this all the time. We've done podcasts on it, the implementation, the speed of implementation, particularly as you're coming off of these conferences, summits, experiences. Just writing down in a notebook that you want to do XYZ isn't enough, because a lot of times you write down the notes, you write a little sticky note and you put it next to you, like, oh, that's a really good tip. And then it sits on that sticky note. And then 3 months later, you've got this crumpled little sticky note with some scratchy writing on it. You're like, well, I don't know what this was. And you throw it away and you never actually implement it. And yeah, it was a great tip. But if you don't put it into the action, then it was kind of lost on you in its full effectiveness. So we love to block out time outside of any online event to actually put it into action or to absorb it. Again, it's not always about a business action thing. Maybe it's more personal, maybe it's more trauma related, maybe whatever the case, but there needs to be some processing time and action time after every single one of your online encounters, because, or maybe it's, if it's a working event, maybe it's time to reach out to those people and actually start the first step of really networking, rather than like, oh, great, I got 15 emails and then
Nothing.
You don't do anything with it, which I have done before. And I hate it when I do it, because I'll come off of a networking, an in-person networking. I'll have all these business cards, all these contacts, all these conversations in my head, and then something will come up. And then it feels weird to reach out to them 3 weeks later and be like, oh yeah, remember I had a talk with you 3 weeks ago. We stood next to that one place, and it doesn't feel as genuine. Feels like an afterthought, because it is. And so if you can do that implementation right away, you will get so much more out of it, whether it's implementing an action step, whether it's reaching out from a networking standpoint, whether it's researching a topic you want to research, whatever it is, putting in the action right away, not only will let it seep into your brain so that you can do more with it later, but it will start working in your business or your life right away. Because sometimes things take time for you really to see the results, but you have to put it in action in order to see any results. So if you can block out that time after any online event to really do that, it will absolutely change the way you see networking and online events and summits and things, because it will change the game for you.
Yeah, absolutely. While you were talking, and we should have probably prompted with this or started with this, is that you can break up events, again, on or offline, into 3 segments: the before, so what you do before, the during the event, and then the after. And so we've been kind of jumping around between the before, during, and the after, but setting those goals, creating that space, making sure that you can show up actively. During, you're going to be taking notes, figuring out what you want to implement, but staying focused. After, like Amanda said, that follow up and follow through. It's great to have that time already bucketed out in your calendar pre the event. One other thing that I really enjoy doing pre-event is I will look at the lineup, and sometimes it's even conferences and summits that I don't even go and register for, but maybe some of these people on the poster interest me, but especially those that I'm going to attend, I start following the speakers. I start following the facilitators because I want to learn a bit more about them. I want to connect with them. And those that I really like the presentation, I just did this recently. Those that I really like the presentation, I will actually message them even before and say, hey, I see that you're speaking at so and so summit. Like, I'm really excited to see you. And it's just that extra step. And I was actually pleasantly surprised at this last summit that I did this. It was a women's summit. There are a ton of women that were involved. And I don't know, I think in all, because it was like a week long, this speakers, there's probably about 40 speakers. And I think I messaged about a fourth of them because I was interested in them. I saw their profiles, and almost all of them messaged me back and said, oh, are you speaking too? Obviously, on our profiles, we say that we speak. So, but it started this conversation and this ball rolling. So that way I'm starting to develop a relationship with higher level individuals, even though I'm an audience member, because they might not see me in the audience, right? We might not actually get to meet, but I am being proactive with that connection and that engagement pre, and then obviously with the follow-up and follow through. If I watch it, then I'm going to send them, if I do participate and I'm watching it, then I'm going to send them a message afterwards about the things that I enjoyed the most about their presentation, or maybe questions. So, yeah, so kind of the before, the during, and the after is how you want to kind of break things up.
Yes, that's one of the best tips, to be able just to reach out to them first. And even better, because well, I would hope, and now our audience knows that we like efficiency. So if you contact them ahead of time, then it leaves you one less thing to do after the fact. So you've already contacted, you've already made a connection, you've already started that process, so that when you do the follow-up and the follow-through, it's like one less point of contact you really have to make. It's one less like, oh, where's that email? I have to look up this person. You've already done it. When you had more time and you didn't have all the action thoughts in your head, you've already done that step. So honestly, it definitely takes less time mentally if you do that ahead of time rather than waiting to the end, because you're already prepped and ready to go. And if you have something to say to the speakers or to another participant, it's already, half the work's already done. So it definitely helps on that front.
Yeah. Another thing that we would suggest is, regardless if you know the facilitators of the summit, the networking, etc., if you have the ability to be able to, and what I mean is, if registration isn't closed, if the registration is open to other people, and even if it's not, share that you're going. Share that you're going on your page, even if you're not affiliated with them. If people can still register, and you see people like that last conference I was talking about, I sent it out. I mean, I sent it to Amanda, I sent it to all different types of people, because I came across, and Amanda does the same thing. Like, when we come across them, that we're like, oh my God, we have to be on this, and we'll send it to the people who we think would really be able to benefit from that. Share it on your social media, push it out. We could all use help. Like, we can all use help promoting our businesses, promoting what we do. And it doesn't matter if I know them or not. If I think it might be beneficial to some people on my network, I absolutely want to pass that information along. Shame on me for not doing that. And so, but even like, if you're super stoked about it, or if you know the facilitators or somebody who's speaking, post about it on your social media, share it in your newsletter, share it on your email list to say, oh my God, my girls, Lynn and Amanda, they're going to be speaking on so-and-so summit coming up. Obviously, if it's our summit, we want you to share that too, if you're our people. But, it's cool, even if it isn't our summit, if we're highlighted, it shows that you're connected with high-level individuals, or that you're proud of the people in your network, and you're showing that you a down ass bitch, as we like to say. And that you are sharing the wealth, like you're sharing that connectivity, if you would, and promoting without necessarily anything in return.
It's definitely a giver's gain. And we 100% advocate for that. And, you know, for a long time, when I was much younger, this was before online virtual summits and things were really a thing. It was really more like in-person stuff. I'm not saying that online summits didn't exist, that it just wasn't as readily available and easily accessible as it has been in the last 5 years. But I felt like I was gatekeeping by not telling people about it. Like, oh, well, I'm doing this really cool thing, but I don't want anybody else to know because I want to be the expert in that now. I and that was young, super competitive, a little bit fixed.
2 years ago. I'm just
2
kidding.
years ago. Shame. Shocking. Abominable reply.
Just
No,
kidding.
it was in my early 20s when I didn't want anybody to have an edge on me for anything.
That's
I was
hilarious. I could
I,
totally see that.
oh, you could totally, I absolutely did it. I would like hoard over the information because I didn't want anybody to have it but me. And I recognize this, young Amanda, you had the right intentions, sort of. But the idea is that it doesn't cost you anything to share it. It doesn't do anything except elevate, and we all go up together. So we cannot stress enough how important it is to really share that information if you think other people will benefit, because ultimately that's why people put on summits and conferences and retreats and things. They want people to benefit from their knowledge and to share it and find an easier way or a better way or simpler way or whatever way to get stuff done or do the thing. So don't be afraid to share. You don't have to gatekeep. You could still grow and be amazing and be your own incredible self. Don't gatekeep. To learn from my mistakes, please.
I love that. You know, it's interesting. I can hear some of you thinking, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be good. I don't know if they're going to be selling. I can hear I'm in your head today. Like I can hear you. I see the hands going. What I will say about that is that you just preface like, hey, Amanda, like I saw this, I'm not affiliated, but I thought of you, like I'm signing up. I don't know anybody. But you know, I thought of you, make your own decision. So that way you kind of like protect yourself if you feel the need to, since you don't know anything. So that shouldn't be, I guess why we're saying this is it shouldn't be a preventer of you sharing the knowledge that's out there and allowing others to make the decision for themselves. But if, especially, I will say though, if you have strong influence over the people that you know, you should preface that, hey, I don't know them, I'm not affiliated with them. Or if you are, tell them why, more in detail, because you do want that transparency, either way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes to attending, we have our before, our during, and our after steps. The other thing, which I just was scrolling back in my head over this last 15 minutes we've been talking. Active listening is something we haven't mentioned, but
Yes.
I think it's almost because we thought, well, that goes without saying, you have to actively listen, really actively listen. And we talked a little bit about shutting off all distractions, creating space for that. And
yeah, actively engaged is
listening,
different than actively listening. Yes.
Yes. So please, 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 when we say to cut off distractions and really engage in it, we definitely mean like, my mom's coming out. It's like listening ears, really active listening. That's all I could think about just then. Really actively listening to the speakers, really actively thinking about how you can implement this into your business, really thinking outside the box, seeing a speaker and their topic for more than just the surface area. And Lynn has spoken about this a couple of times when she went to a conference and somebody was talking about fear selling, I believe, or like a fear aspect. And she was like, this isn't how I resonate, this isn't how I offer. And ultimately, that wasn't the only thing to gain from that speaker. So instead of shutting yourself off to like the one thing they say that you don't agree with, open yourself up to all the other things they say that you could resonate with.
Or the way that they do it. Because that was my big lesson is like, look at how they present at the front of the room. So depending on like what you do as a profession, if you're going to be speaking, if you like that knowledge, like you can also, and Amanda and I, we teach this, and you know, next in 2025, we're going to have licenses for our signature programs, and we're going to have them doing the same thing. it's not just about learning the content, it's about learning how others present content, how they engage with the audience, how they keep their energy up, how they flow, the way that they present themselves, the way they navigate questions. So Amanda has said it several times through this podcast in different ways, like paying attention to all the full picture is super important. I love that you
So
added
important.
that active listening. Absolutely.
And there's lots of times that Lynn and I have exchanged on many platforms, countless memes or videos like, look at the way they talk about this, look at the way, and it's not, might not even be information that we don't know, but it's the way it's presented that's different, or it's the way they did the advertisement, or the way that they did a caption or call to action or whatever. So again, there's a lot to be learned in a conference or a summit that is beyond just the subject matter. So we absolutely encourage you to seek out both within your niche and outside of your niche just to learn something new. There's so much opportunity to learn and to experience while in your pajamas at home. So there's
I would suggest for you not to be in your pajamas if you're going to a summit or networking event. Dress the part.
business on top, pajamas on the bottom. No?
I would suggest, I even put on perfume. I love perfume.
You do, but in a good way. You always smell great. I, on the other hand, am like, it's like a mullet. Business on the top, party in the bottom. On an online event, at a real networking event, please wear appropriate attire when you're in front of people.
Well,
I would say,
I would say that overall I am fully dressed, but man, there have been a couple of times and I'm afraid that like, I'm going to forget and like, I'm going to be the dummy who stands up with my little party shorts on. So
at the very least, the fuzzy socks. It's winter is coming.
in your neck of the woods.
I'm just saying. With the like 80-degree winter. Yeah.
We want you to not shy away from the online summits, the online events, the online networking, which yes, we would prefer in person. So here's the benefit. Like we give you some nuggets, but here's the benefit of this. First of all, hello, you're expanding your global network. Like if you can listen to people from all over the world from the comfy of your own home and not have to pay to go and watch them all on stage in a different country, that's saving you a shit ton of money, but also like comfort and headache and all of that stuff. So like, hello, like there's a benefit. And with people from all over the world, or maybe not, maybe all over the States. I mean, maybe not from this. Usually the summits aren't, and the networking aren't all from the same like 5-mile radius, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I would love to just be in London on Tuesday and in Paris on Thursday and, Ethiopia on Saturday, but that can't always be the case. And this is the only way that I could ever do this. If I had the ability to connect with those people from Houston, from Hawaii, from wherever I am, from Bangkok. And that is something that is invaluable in your business. And there's just learning the way other people do business and the way that they speak to their clients and how it might differ and how you might be able to adapt that to yours. Unreal, the amount of knowledge that you can gain from just getting out of your 10-mile radius.
Yes. It gives you a global experience without having to stamp your passport. So all the benefits that come with that, not just the convenience, but the knowledge, like Amanda said, the expansion of like different cross-cultural experiences and different things like that. And it's interesting because I've been doing a lot of online global networking with a particular group recently that I'm trying to help build. And the majority of the chapters are in the UK right now, but they do have some in about 4 other countries. And I've been having talks with the person running it about like, okay, how can we get how can we get the rest of the individuals to think more global? Like, even if they can't do business global or they don't want to do business global, what is the benefit of them to think more in a global mindset? And it just helps you feel like not as alone too. Like you get to see like somebody from across the pond or in Southeast Asia and in Alaska, they're having the same problems in their business. They're having the same hurdles that they have to get over. You can brainstorm around it differently. Obviously, depending if it's a networking function or a summit or whatnot, but you're able to see it through different lenses, which absolutely can help you feel like you're not so alone in your journey. Yeah, there's so many benefits, but I obviously we highly recommend being networking, going to summits. That additional learning is so important. We need to be investing in ourselves, and that's also through education, that's through networking, that's through expansion.
Absolutely. And investing in your business is and yourself is the absolute best investment you're ever going to make.
Mm.
And I mean, if you want to go from the US side, it is a tax write-off for those of you who do attend paid events. But what I get out of it, what we get out of it, is more than just a tax write-off, though I do appreciate those. It's the experiences, it's the implementation of new things, it's a different way of seeing things, it's the reaching out and with like minds or different minds and able to glean what we can from that. It's so beneficial. And how many conferences do you think you went to last year? Or I should say in this year, in 2024, how many conferences do you think you've been
Well, geez,
either attending or speaking at?
I facilitated, even including the ones I facilitated too. I mean,
Yeah.
just in March, I had 5 that I facilitated, emceed. But I don't know, probably conferences, spoke at, emceed, or attended at least 10. I want to say 15 though. Like if I'm counting the virtual, like all of them, dang, that's a great question, Amanda. And it's
I know
only,
I've been to at least one a month,
yeah.
even if it was just like a 1 day quicker one. I mean, I will honestly say I have not done a great job participating in all of those for one reason or another.
Yeah.
However, I have at least registered and attended one a month this year. And I foresee it being more next year. I already know because I already have slated myself to speak at more events next year
Wait,
than I did last
networking or
year.
conferences? Because
Conferences. I know I said networking because that would also be like, that's crazy. I have
I
lots
was
of
going to
those.
say, then
That's like
I
one a week.
at least double, if not more.
Yeah, that's like one a week sometimes. So we challenge you, look at this last year, 2024, look at how many educational events you attended online or in person and see if you can increase that in 2025 or even
Purposefully increase
purposely.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. We don't want you to just like sign up for 15 and never really show up. To actually show up, be engaged, implement them, challenge yourself and see what you can learn. See if you can fit one more or two in by the end of the year. I know I've at least 3 that I'm signed up for in the next 2 months of 2024. So see what you can do to really expand your knowledge, expand your network, and grow your business.
Yeah. And I would say look for ones that are in alignment of, I mean, yes, if you want to learn something cool, but you definitely, when you have the intention and you're purposeful about it, you can actually look at it through eyes to say, okay, how can this benefit me? What can I maybe derive from this or take from it? So yes, I love that you're challenging them to add on a few more, but we would want you to do it in the right direction. Absolutely.
100% actively in those summits, not just
Yes.
signing up to rack up numbers.
Yes. All right. So if you feel like somebody else can benefit from this podcast, go ahead and hit share, send to them. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you're enjoying our pursuit of the pursuit of badasserie, the podcast. I can't even speak. Make sure that you're subscribed to our channel so that way you get all of the podcasts as they're dropping notifications.
And along with that subscription, you will also be notified when we speak, when we have conferences,
Yeah.
when we do summits, when we do virtual events and in-person events. And obviously we want you there. We have a summit coming up ourselves next week. We hope that you attend. It's the Finish Strong, Start Fresh Virtual Global Summit, and we want you there. We'll put
November
links in
5th
the
and
show
6th,
notes.
if you're watching it late, it's for November 5th and 6th of 2024.
Though I'm
Yes.
sure by the time, if you're listening to this
Oh,
late,
yeah.
there'll be one. I'm sure we have one going on if you're listening to this late.
100%.
Anyway, we want you there. Make sure you are following us and subscribing so you get all that information as it comes up, because we want to see you there. We want to help you implement. We want to see your business grow. That is what we do and what we love.
It's what we love. Yes. So I guess, Amanda, till next time.
Get after it.
All right, everyone. It's not enough to just listen.
Now you've got to put it into action.
We are so excited to see what you do next.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review on iTunes.
And to find out more about what we're doing, visit us at thepursuitofbadasserie.com.